Have you ever heard of the Ben Franklin effect? I had not heard of this until just yesterday when I was finishing up the book, The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. But it's a really interesting concept and something that I feel like we've all experienced on some level, but we've never actually dove in to understand what's going on psychologically. So I'm going to give you my own interpretation from my memory, a little paraphrase of this story. But the Ben Franklin effect comes from when Ben Franklin was actually in politics back in the day, and there was a rival that he had that he needed to have on the same side as him in order to accomplish what he was trying to accomplish in Congress. And the guy apparently was they're kind of like arch enemies. And Benjamin Franklin knew that this man really he loved books, and he had this great library in his house, and he had one book that was like his prized possession, like the thing that he coveted the most. And Benjamin Franklin, because he was a bold individual, walked straight up to this man and said, "Hey, can I borrow that book?" And the guy was a little bit, thrown off, but for some reason he ended up saying, "Yeah, sure, here you go." Benjamin Franklin took that book and then went back to his house, set the book on his shelf, never touched it, didn't open it, but he just kept it there for about 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks go by, and he comes back and gives the book to the person and says, "Thank you so much for letting me borrow this." And they kind of went on their way. But what happened, and I don't know, this would be an interesting thing that I want to research. I don't know if Benjamin Franklin was fully aware. He had to have known what he was doing a little bit. But so many of us think that when you do a favor for someone else, or when someone does a favor for you, that person then owes, or you owe that person because they did something for you. But apparently there has been some studies done, and psychologists have looked at this, that if I were to go do a favor for you, I actually feel psychologically invested and sort of indebted to you, because now I have, because I've invested in you, I want you to be successful. I have to start justifying, and what happened in that situation with Benjamin Franklin was he had to start justifying what it was and why did this guy. The guy's thinking, why did I give this book to Ben Franklin? He must be a good person. And you start getting connected. Now you have this bond with this person because of this favor that you've done. And the reason I think this is an interesting thing that I'm really excited about right now is just because what we're doing right now at SkEye, we're developing a lot of relationships, and we're looking to connect with a lot of people. But there's so many other people that are also trying to connect with people. And at the end of the book, Ryan Holiday and Tim Ferriss are doing this little interview back and forth, and they were each talking about how they got to where they were through connections and mutual people that they knew, and then basically networking and reaching out to people. And both of them had little anecdotes of ways that they spotted someone that they saw and they looked at as a mentor, or someone that they would love to, share, to get knowledge or wisdom from. And rather than going up and saying, "Hey, would you be my mentor?" which is a terrible thing to do if you ever want someone to mentor you. I think it was Ryan Holiday who was looking for little things, little questions he would ask these people and this one guy in particular that he really admired. And he would say, "Hey, what do you think of this title? Do you like A or B?" And the person would respond back really quickly in an email and say, "Oh, I think that one's better." But it was those little things that he was doing, and little favors that those people did for Ryan, and then built up over a series of months or potentially years. When Ryan then went and said, "Hey, can you help me in this bigger way?" They were already like somewhat connected and felt indebted to Ryan because of this relationship and this basically the exchange of favors back and forth. So I think that's an interesting concept, especially for entrepreneurs, to understand the Benjamin Franklin effect, and realize that you can develop really strong relationships by asking small favors of people. You don't want to, ask people to do things that are going to take them an immense amount of time, because they'll never do it. But if you can do something that would be very quick and easy for someone that's in a better place than you are, and it's going to take them seconds or maybe a minute to respond to that, but it's going to provide a lot of value to you. You should look for ways to do that more often, because that's going to develop the relationship that you're seeking, more than, bugging them continuously with phone calls or asking them to go out for coffee, because they probably don't have time to do any of that. You have to start small, and you have to look for ways to develop that relationship, and look for an opportunity to show them that you are a good person, that you are driven, that you are smart, and that you want to learn as much as you can from them, because people want to help other people, especially successful people. This concept is something that I don't really have a strategy. I just think it's a good concept to understand and deploy as you're growing in your career, and growing your business. So the Benjamin Franklin effect, if you want the more like detailed or drawn out version, I'll see if I can share a link or a story to the actual, like the full story of Benjamin Franklin. But pretty interesting story. Hopefully you guys think that's interesting. I thought it was fascinating. Have a good one, guys.